Hello, my name is Larry Mickelchick, and I am a member of the Silton Legion number 33 in Saskatchewan. We serve the communities of Silton, Boyer, Strasbourg, and Duval. This year, as we safely gather for Remembrance Day, we are commemorating the end of the Second World War on this, the 75th anniversary of the surrenders of Germany and Japan. We honor those men and women who left their families to engage the enemy and to protect our way of life. They went to liberate those who were invaded and captured by enemy forces in several wars and peacekeeping missions. Many of these men and women never returned and are buried in the countries they fought on, where they continue to be honored today. This year we are paying special tribute to three men from our communities who spent part of the war in captivity. Prisoners of war Allan Morcom and George Belcourt were fortunate enough to return home after the war, but William McGinnis died as a prisoner of war. In the video to follow, the McGinnis, Belcourt, and Morkum families will tell the stories of these three men who suffered humiliation, deprivation, and fear while in captivity. Two of the men had to live with physical and mental scars for the rest of their lives. These men are all heroes, and their stories are fascinating. We hope you enjoy learning about the heroes who have lived amongst us.
So my name is Jessica Dreger. I'm the current curator of the Strasbourg and District Museum. We are very happy and proud to be the home of this display done about the soldiers who were prisoners of war from our community during World War II. George Belcourt, Allan Morcom, and William McGinnis. They're very important reminders of what people went through in a very difficult time, and that their experiences were often very different.
Thank you so much, Jessica. I'm Elva. I am a daughter of George Belcourt, who I would like to do a presentation on. My sister, my youngest sister, Eunice, is here with us. My twin sister, Avis, is here as well, as well as her husband, Richard. Unfortunately, two brothers were not able to attend today. Our father, George Belcourt, was born January the 4th, 1918 to January 28th, 2001. George Belcourt, son of Antony and Victoria Belcourt, was born January 4th, 1918 on his parents' farm in Armashell River, Manitoba. They later moved to St. Eustache, Manitoba. He had 5 brothers and 5 sisters. In September 1939, George joined the Army with the Winnipeg Grenadiers, where he took his basic training. In 1940, George and Kathleen were married in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Later in 1940, he was sent to Jamaica, where he served for 16 months. After a brief return to Canada, he was transferred to Hong Kong. While there, George was taken prisoner on Christmas Day, 1941, during the Battle of Hong Kong. He was initially imprisoned at Camp Chapeau, located at Kowloon, Hong Kong. On January 22, 1942, he was transferred to Camp North Point at North Point, Hong Kong, and then on January 22nd, he was transferred, on September 26th, of the same year, he was transferred back to Chapeau. On January 19th, 1943, he was transferred to the Tsurumi shipyards in Japan, where he joined many other prisoners building Japanese ships for a company called Nippon Steel Tube. His primary task was hauling bottles of acetylene and oxygen to the welders, while scaling treacherous wooden planks high in the air. In all, he was prisoner of war for 3 years, 7 months, and 21 days, of which he endured extreme hardships to physical health. It is known the Japanese did not treat their prisoners of war in accordance with the International Conventional Agreement, as the POWs were forced to work for the Japanese, building airstrips, working in shipyards and coal mines, while being provided very little nutrition. After being released August 15, 1945, he moved to the Strasbourg area where his wife Kathleen lived and worked on her parents, Alec and Mary's Morrison's farm. In 1946, they purchased their first farm land 2 miles north and 1 mile east of Strasbourg. They lived in an old 2-room homestead on the hill, later to build a 4-room home in 1949. This home was added on to as the family grew to 5 sons and 5 daughters. Over the years, George and Kay expanded their mixed farming operation to 6 quarters of land. Besides his farming practices, George, for a number of years, did such things as welding and clearing bush, both on his own farm as well as for others in the community. In 1975, George and Kay purchased a lot in Strasbourg and constructed a new home where they retired. George was active with the Royal Canadian Legion, spending time renovating and maintaining the Memorial Hall. George was a member of the Hong Kong Veterans Association and seldom missed a convention. George passed away on December 28, 2001, and is interned at the Crescent Road Cemetery near Strasbourg.
Okay, hi, I'm Fern Reach. I'm the youngest daughter of Allan Morcom, and these are my siblings. This is Arlene, and Lloyd, and Shirley. And also our in-laws, my husband Larry, Lloyd's wife Vivian, and Arlene's husband Dennis. So I'd just like to do a small tribute today to our father, Allan Morcom. He was born on January 10th, 1916, deceased September 13, 2013. Allan Morcom was born in the Merton district on January 10th, 1916. He was the eldest child of 9 to William and Mary Morkum. We initially thought Dad went to Stony Croft School, but recently learned from our eldest brother he actually attended Merton School. In his early teens, he quit school to work on a farm for family and friends. He married Solveig Hansen on April 11th, 1939. Allan entered the Army in the spring of 1942. He began his basic training at Maple Creek, Saskatchewan. That was 1942 to 1943. Shiloh, Manitoba, 1943 to 1944. And Debert, Nova Scotia, 1944. Then sent to England, where he continued more vigorous training, also in 1944. Allan was one of the first Canadian soldiers to arrive on the beaches of Normandy on D-Day, June 6, 1944. After fighting Germans for 3 days, Allan and his troop were captured by the Germans. Excuse me. He remained a prisoner of war in Germany's mercy for 11 months. The food became more and more scarce as time went on in the prison camp. So it was time for Allan and others to escape. He escaped with a fellow POW. While on the run, they hid in farmyards and ended up in Czechoslovakia. They were fortunate enough to find a Czechoslovakia family that allowed them to stay on their farm. The Germans came through, and Allan and his friend made a successful disappearance act. Within a couple of days, they came across an American army and joined their troops. Back in Saskatchewan, Solveig and family were told that Allan was missing in action. Fortunately, Allan was able to get a telegram back home to say he was alive and well. Allan's regiment was the Winnipeg Rifles. His rank was rifleman. And during Allan's service to the Canadian Army, he received 4 honorary medals. British Service Medal, Canadian Volunteer Service Medal, the France and Germany Star, and the Canada Star from 1939 to 1945. We as a family would just like to thank our dad and all the veterans for the freedom and safety we enjoy every day. Please know that your service is valued and your sacrifice is remembered.
I am Bill's sister, Bernice McGinnis Scott. And in telling Bill McGinnis' story, I would like to introduce you to his family. His mother and dad, John and Pearl Lanning McGinnis. Siblings, Marie, John, and Evelyn. Bill was the youngest in the family, and he was born on July the 21st, 1923. His mother passed away in February 1926, and he was only 18 months old. The young family spent time in Missouri in the United States. His father remarried Maud Owen from England, and the family was welcomed home by their new mother. 3 more children were born to this union: Jim, Frank, and Bernice. So I was Bill's baby sister, and he was my big brother. Now the family consisted of 7 children growing up on the farm. Our dad passed away in 1937 when Bill was 14. He left school to help Brother John manage the farm. Bill had attended Nokomis School and completed his grade 8. He enjoyed sports and enjoyed playing ball and hockey. In the spring of 1941, things were hard at the farm, and Bill chose to enlist in the Army. He would be paid $1 a day and get his clothes and meals. He was not successful enlisting in Regina and Winnipeg because of his age, but he was determined to join, and going to Saskatoon, his birth date was changed to July the 21st, 1920. And on May the 29th, 1941, he got his wish and was enlisted in the Canadian Army. He became a number, and his address changed. L2848, Private William Joseph McGinnis, Saskatoon Light Infantry, Dundurn, Saskatchewan. He received all his training in Dundurn, which was sporadic and ill-equipped. In October of 1941, he was transferred to the Winnipeg Grenadiers and was to be sent overseas. They embarked from Vancouver on October the 27th and arrived in Hong Kong on November the 16th. They were ill-equipped for war. The Japanese attacked Hong Kong on December the 6th, and Bill was taken prisoner Christmas Day, December the 25th, 1941. In October of 1942, we were notified by the International Red Cross in Geneva, Switzerland, of his whereabouts, and he had been taken to Oyama prison camp in Japan, in Osaka, Japan, where he suffered severe and prolonged maltreatment. On March the 28th, 1945, a year after his death, the family was notified of his passing on April the 25th, 1944, for malnutrition, beriberi, and paralysis. And his remains were buried in the Yokohama Commonwealth Cemetery, located in Yokohama, Japan, where 137 Canadian dead lie with their New Zealand comrades. This is the only British Commonwealth cemetery in Japan. Within this cemetery is found the Yokohama Cremation Memorial, a beautiful designed shrine. Here is an urn containing the ashes of 335 prisoners from 8 countries who died as a prisoner of war in camps in Japan. Their names, except for 51 who were not identified, are inscribed on the walls of the shrine. A memorial is held every year here on October the 20th at 2 o'clock. My daughter Joanne visited this shrine in 1977. Any mail that we sent to Bill was held by the Japanese until it was returned to us in 1945. The family received one note claiming to be from him, but we did not recognize the handwriting. George Belcourt from Strasbourg, who had been taken prisoner in Hong Kong with Bill, visited his mother and brother John in Govan. The family has placed a bronze marker on McGinnis Lake in northern Saskatchewan in his memory.
The act of remembrance. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.